Can you imagine dying in a place like this? The Dead Thing is a Shudder original written and directed by Elric. That's gotta be Kane! That's gotta be Kane! Oh, he just ripped the door off its hinges! Who has directed shorts and other projects? By the way, that's Elric, not to be confused with a door being ripped off the hinges being capable of writing. Because any door that is capable of writing cannot actually exist, at least not until the device is complete. But before I talk more about the device that really I shouldn't have mentioned due to legal matters, let's talk about the fact that this was also written by Webb Wilcoxon, who has done their own projects, and this takes place in LA, where we focus on Alex, played by the incredibly talented and incredibly attractive Blue Hunt, who is coasting through life. She lives with her friend Kara, played by Catherine, Don't Call Me John Hughes. No 16 candles, no pretty in pink here. We just see these two friends living at a place and really living not necessarily a posh lifestyle, but a good lifestyle. They're two friends that have known each other for quite a goddamn while. Kara's got her own relationship issues that get revealed a little bit later on, but Alex has many, many issues in the sense that she keeps doing hookups where the sex is great, but then she ends up ghosting them. She just doesn't feel that full-on connection. Not until she swipes right and meets a man named Kyle, played by Ben Smith-Peters, which sounds like a name way too snooty to be involved in a horror film, but I digress. Ben Smith-Peters just sounds like somebody that should be a cast member on Bridgerton. And I mean a character. I don't mean the actual, name of the actor. Nevertheless, we are continuing to talk about this. By we, I mean me. And essentially, after Alex meets Kyle, a hookup basically blossoms into something more. Now, is it something more in a good way or something more in a horrifying way? Well, as a Shudder original, and since Shudder does horror and subgenres of horror, you would be able to figure out that something is not quite right. It also doesn't take too long to figure out where this whole thing is going, and while I like the central idea, and I thought that Blue Hunt did a pretty good job as Alex, the other characters did what they could, and the concept is there. Though also the, central idea of toxic relationships consuming people and hookups not being right and not being able to get away from somebody before it's too late. That is something that could be explored in movies and actually could be explored pretty well. And while this thing has a few neat little moments, it also would have worked better as a short. That is the sad truth of this. As it goes on, it just becomes more obvious that this thing is being stretched for time. And while not awful, it certainly doesn't utilize its concept as well as I would have liked. I get what they were going for. I don't think it's necessarily a bad movie. It just didn't gel for me and felt very... It felt very detached from what it was trying to do. It was trying to take these two halves, kind of make it a whole, maybe actually take these thirds and put it all together, and it didn't quite click to me. Again, Blue Hunt did a very good job in this, and there were some alright moments. There were moments that I think could have worked if just a little more, not even cohesion, just something was missing. Something was missing from this that made it connect with me. I see why it resonates with some people, and I don't think it's an awful flick. It just didn't work for me. That being said, check it out on Shudder if you want. But with a title like Dead Thing, you probably figure out where this thing's going from the very beginning. Nevertheless, I'm going to get into spoilers. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So the Dead Thing is Kyle. Kyle is dead. Kyle has been dead for a while. It's kind of like a mixture of all of us strangers, had... the ghost being a killer. So, the app was called Friction, by the way, spelled with a K instead of a C. I did kind of like that. That was kind of cool. I actually joked that Alex might be some kind of succubus. Not that anybody would be on board with that. The office that she works at is very depressing. It also consists of like 2 or 3 rooms. Like literally 2 or 3 used cubicles, but it is at night, so whatever. She keeps ghosting people. There's this one person named that she, put in her phone as fuckface. Like, you can't keep avoiding me. We have to talk now. Who is this? I think we find out who that is a little bit later on. she's talking, on to Kyle on this date. Can you imagine dying in a place like this? Alex is an artist. She feels lost until she meets Kyle. And there's a central theme around earbuds. Earbuds that show up sometimes damaged and sometimes whole. And that is because Kyle tells later on, he was on this app. He was just walking along and everything, stepped off the curb, didn't hear the train, and felt like he was just floating away, floating in space. Said he's dated a whole lot and he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to do any of this. He doesn't want to, leave. He wants to be with Alex and everything. Now, you kind of get the idea that Kyle might have actually been a killer of some kind. Or maybe this was, or maybe his way of, getting Alex all to himself was just to turn to the dark side. Ironic for a ghost. But I don't know. I just feel like this thing needed to pick a narrative and stick with it. She does have a co-worker, by the way, named Mark, Joey Millen, who actually does find as a well-meaning guy, but also somebody that wants to know if there's something more with Alex, because she keeps hooking up with everybody. Why not him? Oh, yes, and Kara's boyfriend or, fiance that's no longer fiance, Paul. I have a feeling that he was fuckface. In fact, I have a pretty good idea because there's something revealed a little bit later on that she, there was an implication that she was sleeping with him. And then basically Kyle kind of goes a little bit nuts and, has been killing, has been like attacking women that he's been on dates with, trying to get that human connection, take somebody with him so he's not alone on the other side. And that's really why he's focused on Alex. But once Alex and him had that hookup, maybe he just went off with somebody else. Turns out that she found out he died. There's like this one cameo by, a actress. I didn't write her name down, but she's only in like one scene where Kyle's trying to kill her, but then she runs and freaks out. So Kara basically ends up talking to Alex saying, I miss us. We need to hang out more. There's no tension to this is what I noted. The kills are, The idea is okay. Just the execution doesn't quite gel for me. The toxic dating theme scene is something that could have worked in this horror movie. I just feel like something was missing. So he's trying to take her away. Ha ha ho hee hee ha ha ha. She keeps missing work. He keeps wanting her to say you need me, this kind of stuff. If you need me, that makes it okay for me to basically take you. She gets fired from her job. Her coworker, Chris, new coworker, ends up basically, kind of falling for her. Again, Blue Hunt, hard not to. Because Mark ended up freaking out at one point when she was seeing images of a bloody Kyle and Alyssa holding the earbuds. And basically he's just isolating her from anybody that could help her. He ends up killing Paul at one point when Paul was supposed to get his stuff, didn't, and he ends up killing him in his apartment. I guess he can just go anywhere. And then kills Kara in her wedding dress. And Alex basically says, I don't need you. I don't need you. This isn't going to work. So he vanishes. Then she hooks up with Chris for a bit. And I guess just forgot about the fact that, she should have checked on her friend, who, by the way, is wrapped up in her wedding dress in a goddamn closet. And Alex ends up basically hanging out with Chris. Chris gets drowned in the goddamn pool. And then he takes over Chris's body. Is essentially telling her, you're never going to be able to leave me, this kind of stuff. And then he ends up choking her out in the, dirt driveway parking lot area of this hotel, but she refuses to give in to him. And then she ends up dying. Now she's all bruised and pain, blues, and agony and everything. And now she's doing the dating stuff where she is looking for that connection and everything. And I guess, I know what they were going for, but just the way it was told. There's nothing wrong with trying to have a different spin on a story and have a few themes, but this didn't work for me. I do look forward to seeing what else the writer-director can do, and again, Blue Hunt, very good in this. I thought Ben did fine as Kyle. Everybody else is okay. So yeah, it's still F. I'm sorry, I gave it 2 stars on Letterboxd for what it did well, but it didn't do enough well for my liking. So agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.